Did you know that even your slice of bread, yogurt, are considered processed foods? But not all processed foods are bad for you. In fact, you might be surprised, and it might surprise you that we're going to talk about it, right? Today, we're going to break down what process really means and the major difference between process and ultra process. Let's talk about it today. Now, is your yogurt healthy? What about your can of beans in your cabinet? And I like beans. I like the black beans. I like kidney beans, and but I don't want to go off topic here. And where do we draw the line with processed and ultra processed? And what about ultra processed snacks? Are processed foods? So, first, what does it mean when something is considered processed, right? Now, a processed food is any food that has been changed from its original form. And that could mean like if the food was washed, if the food was cut, if it was cooked previously, if the food was frozen, and if any ingredients were added, like salt, oil, or sugar, that is considered processed. So that means that it changed its original form through washing, cutting, cooking, freezing, and adding salt, oil, sugar. Now, some examples of the processed food is like canned beans, because the beans are normally in a bag or they're fresh, they're dried, they're hard. But when you take those beans and put them in a can, it becomes processed, right? Frozen vegetables. I love broccoli. So just thinking about broccoli, you could buy frozen bushes of broccoli or the florets. Now, when you take that broccoli and put it in the frozen aisle of the grocery store and it's in a bag and it's just frozen, right? That's processed. It was processed, but it's still broccoli, but it was just processed due to freezing. It was frozen. And for me, and I'm going off topic here, but for me, um, I like my fresh vegetables and I would buy frozen too because I know they were, I call it flash frozen. So I know that that's still considered fresh. So that's something to keep in mind. Another example is whole wheat bread or even pasteurized milk. So these foods are still nutritious and they're convenient, but they were just prepared different and they were prepared to be on the shelf longer. I'll say that to have a longer shelf life. Now, frozen berries, that's another thing I like. Those are still packed with nutrients. They were just frozen. So they were considered processed, but like a healthier process. They were frozen. Canned tuna is still super convenient protein, but it's just being out fresh. It's in a can, so it's packaged processed. And yogurt is processed but often very healthy. So those are some things to keep in mind when it comes to understanding what process is, right? Right. Now, let's talk about ultra process. Now, this is where things get a little tricky. It gets a little tricky. Now, ultra processed foods are industrially made, right? And think about that word, industrially. and they're industrially made and products that go way beyond simple prep, like in the regular process I just discussed. So when you're thinking about industrial made, you're thinking about, when I hear industrial, I hear I hear factory. I think about like a factory, like the foods are going down the assembly line in the belt and things of that nature. Now, these types of foods, ultra processed, usually contains artificial colors, flavors, preservatives, emulsifiers, and additives. And take a look at it also. It contains added tons of added sugar, salt, and unhealthy fats. So if you see labels with things you cannot pronounce, that's ultra processed, right? That's how you know anything that have color red, something like that. Added flavors, preservatives, emulsifiers, additives. You got to read the labels. The labels are so important. And you could take a look at a label here. I put that there for you guys to see what an added ultra processed label looks like. Now, examples of ultra processed could it includes soda. Soda is ultra processed. So you want to limit your soda. I'm not saying to stop drinking soda. For me, everything is opinion. It's your opinion and what you like. But for me, I don't drink soda at all. I've been stopped drinking soda years ago. But for me, I say do everything in moderation, especially with these ultra processed foods. You want to limit your intake of that. So, soda is one, it has tons of sugar, it has added colors and flavors. So, you want to limit that. Another example of ultra processed that you want to limit is your packaged cookies. Oh my goodness. I know that's my thing. I like chocolate chip cookies and I like Oreo cookie. I'm the cookie monster. But I don't eat too many cookies anymore. I like a good Chick-fil-A chocolate chip cookie, but I don't eat cookies too much anymore. I had to slow down. Now, I may have it every 2 months or something, but goodness, a good cookie was my thing. But that's ultra processed. Also, keep this in mind, it's affordable, it's good. Another example of ultra processed is your those instant noodles, the ramen noodles. Oh my goodness, that's ultra processed. It has a lot of salt, it has flavors, preservatives, all that in there. If you like it, we're not saying to stop eating it, but everything in moderation. You don't want to eat that every day. I know sometimes, like when I was in college, I used to eat a lot of those ramen noodles. And early on in my life, too, I didn't cook. So I would eat a lot of microwave food. So, but now I cook. I'm a great cook. I eat healthy, all that stuff. But to make a long story short, but to give you that example, those were examples of ultra processed, right? So that these are designed to be ultra tasty, shelf stable, and addictive. Goodness. So let me read that again. These are designed, ultra processed foods are designed to be ultra tasty, shelf stable, and inaddictive, and often low in real nutritional value, right? What's the difference of ultra processed versus processed? So here's a quick comparison. An example of processed, as I discussed, was the yogurt and the frozen veggies. And that is basically cutting and freezing, and that's considered processed. Cutting, freezing, washing, just changing it the way that it's packaged. I'll say it that way. The ingredients are still recognizable, and processed foods are healthy, and it's very healthy. Now, ultra processed is things like potato chips, candy, soda. Those are industrial, heavily altered. So that food was altered, and it contains many additives, artificial flavors. And this is often unhealthy if you eat it in excess, right? So that's the difference. Now, so what should you do with all of this information? What should you do? Choose foods with minimal ingredients. Look for items you use to own in your kitchen, and limit snacks and drinking with lots of added sugar or chemical sounding names, right? So those are things you could do. So for me, I snack on fruits. If I want something sweet, I eat an orange, or I get an apple, or I eat raisins, or I snack on nuts. Those are my desserts. And for my food, I try to eat whole foods like hormone free chicken breast with no skin, and I eat vegetables. And then when I don't eat meat, I just eat strictly vegetables. I may make a whole dinner plate of maybe sweet potatoes, zucchini, put them all together, saltine spinach with saltine mushrooms, and I may make some black beans with bell peppers. So you could do all kind of things to keep it healthy. And then every now and then you can indulge in a chocolate chip cookie for me, right? I hope that this has cleared things up for you. The difference between processed and ultra processed, right? And I'm going to come back with more information to see if I could uh, expand on it some more. So I may do another video that helps you. But if this has helped clear up the difference in you understanding the difference of processed and ultra processed foods, then definitely give this video a thumbs up, Make sure you subscribe to my channel. I am going to bring more nutritional things to you so that you know what to eat. Um, and um, and then we could talk about that as well, right? Now, for more easy to understand nutritional videos, stay tuned because I'm going to bring those things to you. And tell me in the comments, right? Tell me what's one processed food that you love that's actually healthy, right? And tell me what's one processed food that you love that's actually not healthy. Share that in the comments. I'm going to tell you guys really quickly now my one processed food that I really love that's unhealthy, and I just shared that. I love chocolate chip cookies. And then my other processed food that I really love that's actually healthy is I love canned beans, whether they're black beans or kidney beans. And for me, I'll open the can, I'll pour them into my bowl, I'll rinse them like how my grandmother used to cook fresh beans. You got to rinse them and let it soak, and and then cook them, put them in fresh water and recook it. That's how I do my beans. But I love beans, and so those are my two. My healthy processed food that I like is canned beans, and then my unhealthy processed food that I like that I got to stay away from because I'm a cookie monster is chocolate chip cookies. And what is yours? So put that down in the comments below. What's your processed food that you love that is healthy and unhealthy? And until next time, again, my name is Ann. Thank you for watching and liking and subscribing to my channel, Just Sharing. Have a great day. Bye bye.